Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Harvest Valley Life podcast. This is a podcast that goes deeper into the life of the church. We explore relevant topics, discuss updates, and share real-life stories to both encourage and inspire you in your faith. Let's dive right in and get started.
Hey, welcome to the Harvest Valley Life podcast. I'm so glad that you're here today. My name is Whitney, and I'm the Connections Pastor. And one of our values at Harvest Valley is building healthy families. And today we're talking about dating and relationships and how great when we can start relationships well. That really is a gift. And so I'm excited to jump in with you today. So the first thing that we can do in having healthy dating and relationships is being the right one. So sometimes we have this desire like, oh, if I find the person and I have somebody who loves me, then I'll feel good. But really, being the right one means bringing our brokenness to Jesus, allowing Him to heal us, learning and growing to know who we are in the Lord, so we can come to a place where we are secure in our identity, we are secure in who God made us to be, and then that is us becoming the right one, and that will bring so much health into a relationship that we enter into. Because instead of finding our need from love from that other person, we're finding it in Jesus, and He's making us secure, because it always works so much better when two people in a relationship are bringing 100% and 100% rather than each person bringing 50% and then grabbing from the person that they're with to try to feel fulfilled in their life. Because there's nobody better than Jesus who can heal our brokenness, who can help us to become whole in Him, and who can help us to be secure in who we are. And so really, the first thing that we can do for a healthy relationship and dating is being the right one. So next, the fun part, right? Finding the right one. Now, the purpose of dating is to see if the person that we are dating is God's best for us in our life. Is this the person that we want to marry? Is this God's best for my life? The purpose of dating is not to have fun. Now, I will say that dating, especially dating and walking with Jesus at the same time, is incredible fun. It is so much fun, but we have to remember the goal of dating is not fun. We get to have fun along the way, but the purpose of dating, is this God's best for me? So when we find ourselves in a place where we feel like we're ready to date, sometimes we just have to see and say like, wow, this is a desire of my heart. I would like to be married someday. Pray about that. Bring that before the Lord. Journey in this season with the Lord. And then take steps to step out too. Now, I just have to say, recently, I've been meeting a lot of married people. And one thing I like to ask is, hey, how did you guys meet? And so many people, I'm surprised, have said, we met online. Now, really meeting online, when in my season of dating, online wasn't really big yet. It was just starting. And so I have no experience with that. I have no insight to that. I'm sure there is a wise way that you can go about it and a not so wise way that you can go about it. But one thing I do appreciate is people stepping out and doing something about being intentional about meeting somebody. Sometimes it's hard when we're sitting and we're like, oh, I want to meet somebody. I want to find a person. I want to be married. But we don't do anything to meet somebody, to get out there and get to know others that we haven't met yet. And so give your desire to the Lord, like, God, I want to meet somebody. This is a desire that you've given me. I'm trusting you with it. Pray about it, and then do something to step out to. Finding the right one. Okay, attraction and desire is a great thing that God has given us. but it cannot be our sole deciding factor in who we pick. I don't know if you've ever watched the old Disney movie Bambi, but in there they have this whole part where they're Twitter-pated. Now, this is really a real thing, and we see this. We can probably see this. Maybe we've seen it in ourselves, or we've seen it in our friends, where our friend meets somebody, and that person is all that they can talk about. It's all they can think about. That person can do no wrong. They are the most wonderful person. So this is infatuation. Now, this is a real thing, and honestly, it's a fun season of finding the right one. It feels exciting, but we just have to realize and be wise that this is going on. And so I just need to know that I can't let infatuation be my sole deciding factor in finding the right one. So if you have friends or people in your life and you think, oh, this person is the best, but all your friends are saying, what are you doing? This isn't good. This isn't good. It might be time to stop and think like, maybe I need to listen to the people that love and care about me and just consider what they're saying a little bit. So, how do we find the right one? The biggest thing that we can look at is, do they love Jesus? Are they pursuing Jesus in their lives? Now, I've been in my earlier dating, I made a lot of mistakes, but I knew that this was important. But in my head, I just wanted the person that I already liked to be a good choice for dating. And so I would be like, well, they go to church. If I asked them if they believe in Jesus, they would say yes. But really, this that's not the bar. That's too low. These are the questions that you want to ask. Do they love Jesus? Are they pursuing him in their lives? Are they in the Word? Are they growing? Do they have a desire to be more like him? Do they have a desire to make disciples in their lives? So this is the biggest, most foundational, most important question that we can be asking ourselves when we are finding the right one in our lives. More questions that we can be asking to consider their character and not just the physical attraction that might be going on is, they're really random, but they're thoughtful questions. And in no particular order. If I died, would I trust them to raise my kids well? If we had a deep loss in our lives, where would that person turn to manage their pain? Would they run to Jesus? Would they run to the bar? What would they do? Where would they go? How does this person treat their parents or the elderly or service workers? Will this person battle in prayer for me if I'm struggling? Will they point me to Jesus when I need encouragement? Does the other person have a growing mindset? Are they willing to grow and learn and change? Or do they have the mindset, I am who I am, and this is how it's going to be? We need to have the growing and learning mindset in ourselves and in the person that we're with, because that opens the door to becoming more like Jesus in our lives. There's also more practical questions that we can consider as well as we are deciding who is the right one or who would be a wise person to date, or if we're in a dating relationship, is this God's best in our lives? So some things that we can ask when we're deciding, do we have enough things in common? And then you can decide, are these deal breakers or not? But some of them can be deal breakers. Like if one of you has always had a desire to have a large family, like 7 or 8 kids, and the person you're dating never wants children at all, that might be a moment that's a deal breaker. Politically, if one of you leans far, far left and the other of you leans far, far right, that might be difficult. How do you care for yourself and your surroundings? If one of you is neat and tidy, dresses well all the time, and another of you live in a pigsty and you don't care how you look at all, like, is that going to be a deal breaker for you or not? And physical attraction. I've sat with people before and they're like, they're so nice, they're so kind, I see they're a really good person, but I'm not physically attracted to them at all. Like, I feel like if I kissed them, like, I would be disgusted. I would say there needs to be some physical attraction in a dating relationship. And so these are questions that you should consider as you're getting to know someone else, to deciding, are they God's best for me in my life? Next, pursuing Jesus while we're dating. So what does it look like to live for Jesus and date at the same time? I would argue that dating and following Jesus is so much fun. I dated in high school and kind of left Jesus at the wayside all the time. And in my last dating relationship, which was with my husband, Nate, we followed Jesus and dated and honored him at the same time. And so I've lived both worlds. I would say doing it God's way is so much better and so much fun. So I want you to feel hopeful about that. Dating and honoring the Lord looks really different than the world portrays it to be. And that's okay, because God's way is so much better. So first, just a heart posture is that as we date, to continue to trust God in our relationship, with our relationship. And how I think of it as is just holding the relationship with open hands. Like, God, I trust you in this relationship. We may find, no, we're not God's best for each other, and it may end, or it could progress towards marriage. But either way, God, I'm trusting you as I'm in this relationship, and I'm holding it on with open hands. I'm not like clenching and holding on to it because my life depends on it, but I trust you in it. So that's the posture of our heart that we can have as we date. If we are dating and we find out, actually, we think we aren't each other's best for one another, our goal is that we haven't robbed so much from each other. And that could be, I haven't given you all of my heart. I haven't given you all of my emotions. I haven't given you all of my body. I haven't given you all of my intimacy. But we have dated and gone to know each other in such a way, and we've realized, nope, we aren't God's best for each other, but we haven't given all of ourselves away in all those areas, because then as we end a relationship, it's not as heartbreaking. It's not as difficult because we've honored one another. And as we've dated, we've known, we're going to protect one another so that if the relationship ends, we are still a whole person and we're not a broken mess at the end of it. Because have you ever sat with a friend through a hard breakup, right? Breakups, when you've given all of yourself to somebody else, are so hard, are so difficult, are so heartbreaking. It feels like the end of the world. And I really believe the reason why that is because God made all of those intimate things to be shared in marriage. And his heart is that we never have to experience that tearing apart in when we've given everything to another person. And so when we date well, and what that looks like in dating is starting slow and growing, not dropping everything as soon as we start dating somebody and spending every spare moment that we have with them, moving in with them, giving them everything that we have, but starting slow and growing. In our dating relationships, we still need friends. So continue your friendships, continue to make time with them, continue to spend time with the people that you were spending time with before you started dating someone. Also, spending time with the person that you're dating with other people too, not always being alone, is really healthy. You will learn so much about each other when you spend time within groups of people, whether that be groups of friends or with your family or whatever, your roommates, whatever it looks like. I would encourage you, don't spend your dating relationship living on the couch, laying on the couch together. God has so much more, and it is so much fun when you get out and do stuff. Go bowling, go hiking, have game nights with friends, go to a concert, grab lunch with friends, go to a market on Saturday morning, go on summer evening walks instead of watching a movie together, go to a baseball game, join a club volleyball team, serve at church together, go to the gym together, ask deep questions to one another. This is what dating can look like, and it is so much fun when you are intentional and go about it this way, and it will be in a much more healthy place too. Questions to ask as you're dating someone. Are you both pursuing Jesus and growing in Him? Does the other person encourage your relationship with Jesus, or are they pulling you away from Jesus? Do you trust the other person? Are you growing in your communication? Are you learning to communicate and to listen well to one another? Are you growing love and respect in your relationship? And are you able to resolve some conflict eventually? Conflict is normal. It's going to happen. Can you resolve it? I don't think that we can talk about dating without touching on physical boundaries and sexuality. So God's design for sex is for a man and a woman in the context of marriage. Sex is a gift, and sexual intimacy is meant to be experienced in marriage and not before. How are you going to date, and how are you going to live this out? Now, sometimes in dating, or if you've grown up in the church, we kind of get this idea like sex is bad, sex is wrong, sex is a sin. Yes, but actually, outside of marriage, because God didn't intend it for that, but sex is actually created by God. It's a gift, and it's good, and it's something to be looked forward to with expectancy. And so this is a gift that we get to experience eventually in the covenant relationship of marriage. So how do you protect that and nurture that in the season of dating and relationships? I would say it's not easy sometimes, because once hormones get involved, I think we lose our brains sometimes. And so it takes a lot of intentionality. It takes conversations. It takes grit. But it's good. It's so worth it. It is so, so worth it. And it's never too late. If you're listening right now and you're like, wow, I have not done this right at all, it's never too late. You can decide today, God, from today going forward, I'm going to honor you in the physical aspect of my relationship. Would you show me how to do that? Will you guide me in how to do that? Now, some basic good guidelines to start with would be don't sleep together. That would be a good starting point. Don't live together. Don't touch each other's private parts, because it's not just sexual intercourse, but it's a lot of other pieces. Don't start something physically that you can't finish. And like I said, again, it's hard to choose wisely when the hormones have taken over. When we purposely and repeatedly continue in sin, and this could be in any area of sin, not just in the area of sex, but we're talking about sex right now, we're not following Jesus the way that He designed us to. I can remember back in prior relationships in my life, I gave so much of myself away. And in those seasons of dating, I found myself, I wasn't interested in reading my Bible. I distanced myself from friends that loved Jesus and that followed Jesus. I didn't care to pray. I didn't really want to go to church. And I certainly didn't feel like I could come before the Lord with confidence. I was ashamed. I was guilty, and I felt guilty, and I wasn't willing to change my way of life. And so my relationship with the Lord was just really dull. It was really, really dull. And I felt so distant from Him. I was completely living against the way that God had called me to live. So when I met Nate, I was determined not to let a dating relationship stifle my relationship with God again, because it had so many times in the past. Now, for Nate and I, we decided not to kiss when we were dating. Now, in the world, this seems absolutely crazy. I remember I was going to college at the time, and I had a friend who was an exchange student from Europe, and I told her that, and she was like, Whitney, that's a really bad idea, because you got to try people out. Like, how are you going to know if you're a good fit if you're not like having sex with them and not even kissing? Like, that's like, she pretty much told me that's foolish. But to the world, it does seem crazy, but I was so determined in my life not to live with compromise all over in my life, because I had done it so many times in other seasons. I just thought that this was a great and easy way to make sure that physically we honored the Lord in our relationship, because nobody takes their clothes off when they're not kissing, right? So, and I can think back to while we were dating, so many times I remember thinking, God, I cannot believe that I can be close with you and I can be dating someone at the same time. This is so much fun. This is the best. This is totally worth it, and I love it. Now, I'm not telling you that I think that you should do this, but what I would encourage you in is be relentless in honoring God in your dating relationship. Don't give up. Don't sink back into the worldly way, because it will be so worth it. Make it fun, and it's never too late to honor God in all areas or in this area as we pursue Him while we're in a dating relationship. As we wrap up today, I want to leave you with two things. So the first one is this, is again, just to invite God into wherever you're at. Well, maybe you're single and you're wanting to find the right person, or maybe you're in the midst, just the beginning of a dating relationship, or maybe you're with someone you've been with for a long time, and just to hold wherever you're at with open hands. Or maybe you're thinking, wow, I need to think about the physical boundaries in my relationship right now, but hold all of these things with open hands, and in that, just say, God, I trust you. I want you to lead and guide me wherever I'm at right now. I want what you want in my life, and I'm listening to what you have to say. I'm willing to listen to your guidance and to your leading. And God, would you help give me the courage to be obedient in whatever you're asking me to do, or however you're asking to lead me. And this is such a good and sweet place, because our Heavenly Father has such a good plan for us, and His way will always be the best way. Every single, in the area of relationships and everything else, what I have found over and over in my life is that, wow, God always has had the best way. Whitney's way always seems to fail, but God's way has always been so good, and He's so faithful. And I know this to be true about Him in the area of dating and relationships as well. And so trust Him, hold where you're at with open hands, ask Him, God, what do you have to say about where I'm at? And I'm willing to follow you. And lastly, look for a good example in your life. Who is dating well, or who did date well? Look up to them. Ask them out for coffee. Ask them, what did you do? What did it look like? Inspire me. Help me to do it too, because it is so healthy when we have an example to look to. Then we know that it's possible, because then we can say in our heart, wow, if they were able to do it with God, I can do it too. I know for sure in Nate and I's season of dating that it was because we saw other dating couples around us walking for God and doing it well. That was like what put wind in our sails to do it too. And so find a couple, find someone that can mentor you, that can inspire you, that can ask you some good questions and journey with you as you learn to date and be in a relationship and honor God in that. Because when we start well, it sets us up well to have healthy families going forward. And that's God's best for us. Thank you so much for joining today, and we'll see you soon next time.
Thanks for listening to the Harvest Valley Life podcast. We would love for you to get connected with us. To discover more about Harvest Valley, go to our website at harvestvalley.church. Again, thanks for listening, and be sure to join us for our next episode.